On April 30, 1975, Communist North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces captured the South Vietnamese capital of Saigon, forcing South Vietnam to surrender and bringing about an end to the Vietnam War. An Associated Press article in the May 1 New York Times reported scores of North Vietnamese tanks, armored vehicles and camouflage Chinese-built trucks rolled to the presidential palace. The president of the former non-communist government of South Vietnam, Gen. Duong Van Minh, who had gone on radio and television to announce his administration's surrender, was taken to a microphone later by North Vietnamese soldiers for another announcement. He appealed to all Saigon troops to lay down their arms and was taken by the North Vietnamese soldiers to an undisclosed destination. The fall of Saigon came just over 2 years after the United States, ally of South Vietnam, pulled out of the Vietnam War with the signing of the Paris Peace Accords. The agreement created a ceasefire between North and South Vietnam, but it did not end the conflict. Fighting resumed by the end of 1973 as the Viet Cong, which still had an estimated 150,000 men positioned in South Vietnam, renewed offensives. Without the support of United States troops, and with limited American aid, the South Vietnamese struggled to stop the advance of North Vietnamese forces. In the spring of 1975, President Nguyen Van Thieu of South Vietnam desperately asked President Gerald R. Ford for support, but Mr. Ford could not provide it. Mr. Thieu resigned on April 21 and fled the country. In the weeks leading up to the fall of Saigon, the United States organized the evacuation of Americans and South Vietnamese orphans and refugees from the city. On April 29 and 30, the United States frantically rescued all remaining Americans and some Vietnamese via helicopter. In the American news media, photographs of the airlifts from the roof of the United States Embassy and other buildings become emblematic of the fall of Saigon. However, thousands of South Vietnamese desperate to escape were left stranded outside the embassy. North and South Vietnam were reunited under the control of the Communist North Vietnamese government. The North immediately renamed Saigon Ho Chi Minh City after its former president. It rounded up South Vietnamese soldiers and government officials, placed them in camps, and encouraged the people of Saigon to leave the city and take up farming in the countryside. The communist government implemented collectivization plans to transform Vietnam into a socialist country. Its policies had disastrous effects on the economy, however, and in the 1980s the government decided to move to a more market-based, capitalist economy.